week one of the preseason.
It's exciting just to be back and hear the roar of the crowd.
Hear every snap and your team's pre- and post-game shows on the SiriusXM app. Plus, NFL Radio's training camp tour gets you ready for the season with previews of all 32 teams.
Playing this position, you get the credit, you get the blame, but I love leading these guys.
They've attacked it. They've challenged each other. So you get into these camps and you want to see that.
Just search for your favorite team on the all-new SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM Politics brings you inside the Capitol in Washington, D.C. with SiriusXM's POTUS, the Laura Coates Show, the Michael Smerconish Program, the Briefing with Steve Scully, the Dan Abrams Show, the Julie Mason Show, and more. Your preset for politics is SiriusXM's POTUS. To hear SiriusXM's POTUS, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
With SiriusXM channels designed to shift your timeline. Jump into the pit with hard rock and new metal on Turbo. Channel 41.
It's just one of those days.
Go hard all day with zeros and tens hip-hop on Flex 2K. Channel 49. Or sink into your feels with alternative anthems on Alt 2K. Listen to all of these and more 2000s channels across SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's it. You gotta get this. Oh, that's it.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up, fool. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. People trying to sleep. You know, they voted me neighborhood spokesperson. And I know they're trying to sleep, but I'm trying to watch the Olympics. America now, America forever. That's my story. I know some people don't like when I got my TV turned out when it's 3 o'clock in the morning so I can watch Team USA. USA! USA! Do you believe in miracles? Yes! In your life! Get the hole! The great Steph Curry, LeBron James, Joel Embiid even got his groove back, and the great Kevin Durant. They were dropping threes up against the good old boys from Serbia. And Boki had a good game, and the Joker had a good game. What a game that was. Team USA coming from the back nine. It was Steph Curry for 3. Yes! Get the hole in your life. Got some signs of Curry's not lost his game at all. That good boy said he's going to play. That was probably his last Olympics because in 4 more years he'll be in LA. I love to see Steph Curry come back and get his groove back the way Stella got a groove back. What a beautiful showing in the Olympics. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! They were down 17 points. 17 points. And they came back in dramatic fashion. Have you not been entertained? I was entertained because I was holding on to my sphincter when the good old boys from America were down. All fair and level war. Also got a special guest coming on today to talk about some of the Olympics. I want to have a good old boy by the name of August. In the month of August, he's going to come on and talk about some things that he wants to do with his own show. And I say, hey, let's do it today. All's fair and level war. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sent you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide. But I know there's a lot of people with a wide split because we eat too much fast food. You know, when I look at the Olympics, there's so many people that are in great shape. They're not in the line saying, I'll take a double and a Diet Coke. They're not saying that. They're saying I'll take some collard greens. I want the Big C burger. What's the Big C burger? It comes with 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and some collard greens on a sesame seed bun may lightning strike. Man, in my mind, I look like Noah Lyles. In fact, I used to have a body like Noah Lyles back in the day. But that's before they invented the double-double. If that makes sense, really do appreciate that. I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. I say all over the universe. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, and I want to say I always produce the show. I direct the topic. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We should all have more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And not only that, I do the play-by-play. Steph Curry for 3. Yes! Get the hole in your life. What a game. I mean, what a game. I was nervous that Team USA was going to get knocked out. But now they advanced to the gold medal round where they will take on Vive la France the way it should have been. But those good old boys make me sweat a little bit. I don't like sweating that much, if that makes sense to you. But really impressed. LeBron James did his thing. The great Joel Embiid did his thing. Kevin Durant, what a big 3 when the Joker fell into Anthony Davis. I mean, I'm telling you, there's so many reasons that they could have lost that game. They had already beat them twice. It's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a row. But they did it. Like Ali, he won the heavyweight championship 3 times in a row. May lightning strike. What a great game. I love Team USA, all fair and level war. Now if we could just get them to talk about reparations, if that makes sense to you. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And then, number 10, I never missed a show. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. Now we have people who miss practice. The great Allen Iverson. I want winners. I want people who want to win. The great Mike Singletary. You want to crown them, crown them. The Bears are who we thought they were. As the late Dennis Green was saying, the USA are who we thought they were. You want to crown them, crown them. But they got one more game to go before they beat Vive la France. And they win the gold medal of the Paris, France Olympics. You got to give that some praise. All's fair and level work. I do want to say what I love saying with Big C Sports Podcast, and I do it on every show. Now, some people say, man, you talk too fast. And then some people say, well, Big C, I think maybe you talk too slow. I say, this is not the Lawrence Welk Big C's Podcast. I talk fast. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I do want to pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline because they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. As I tell you, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and I don't want to waste my mind. What mind I have left, I don't want to waste none of it. But they said, what was I saying when I watched the USA? They were down by 17. I said, to quote the great DMX, I said, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in France, y'all gonna make me go all out. Up in France. We want the real DMX. Well, you can't get the real DMX right now. I'll put it on tape. Yeah, I would like to have the chance to listen to the real DMX also, but you gotta listen to it on tape. All's fair and level work. But I really do appreciate the Veterans Crisis Hotline. You know, anybody going through issues, it's one thing saying thank you for your service. It's another thing saying if you know anyone who needs help, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. Do you believe in miracles? Call the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They have been working miracles for our veterans. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do all want to say, with Big C Sports Podcast, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. And just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said that to be light, and I want to shine light on the world when it comes to sports and reparations. And I believe what a great game. I'm telling you, that game, that basketball game was amazing. It was exciting. If only the finals can be that exciting when it comes to USA and Viva la France doing their thing coming up soon. But I'm so impressed by the way that game was played by Steph Curry coming down the back nine. If that makes sense to you, that good boy was doing his thing. I want to say with Big C Sports Podcast, I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe. I pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I don't want to lose my mind. Up at here, I don't want to go all out. Up at here. Big C, we want the real DMX. I told you can't have the real DMX, but you can't have Big C MX, if that makes sense. Yeah, all fair level work. I do want to say what a lot of people won't say. They won't pay homage to something that's so important. It's called the Just Act for descendants of chattel slavery in the United States of America. We know the United Nations, they believe in reparations. Now let's not get all happy and saying touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. So much that we forget about the people that served this country from 1619 to 1865 without being paid. They did it without any workers' comp, no vacations, no time off from cradle to grave. They were beaten and sold. And I got to make sure that I, as the vanguard for reparations, I always pay homage to it. So I want to start by paying homage to, and I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that will pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force. I want to start with the inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber. She's the Secretary of the State of California. She worked with California Governor Gavin Newsom, and they mandated a task force. They had 9 members, and they put together a plan, and it's moving around the country as we speak. California, what happens in California, it tends to sweep the nation, if that makes sense to you. I want to give praise to the great chair, Camila Moore. She's an attorney that specializes in reparative justice. She actually photobombed Big C at a photo op at the Secretary of State building on the final day of the reparations rally. Camila Moore, I want you to photobomb the Big C Sports Podcast. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I think you're brilliant. I want to give praise to you, and I want to give praise to Dr. Amy C. Brown, the Vice Chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He also came onto the Big C Sports Podcast back about 3 months ago. And then I happened to run into him at Fixin's. It's a restaurant owned by Kevin Johnson, former NBA great and mayor of Sacramento. And I said, Mr. Brown. He said, Mr. Curry. I said, what are you doing, Mr. Brown? He said, I'm fixing to go tear up some collard greens. I said, well, good luck, because I think I ate all they had, if that makes sense to you. They might have to make a new pot. It's all fair level work. I want to give him praise, part of the California Reparations Task Force. And then I want to give praise to the #1 senator in the universe, California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He also has championed name, image, and likeness that helps college student athletes get paid on their name, image, and likeness. He also crafted the Ebony Alert that helps law enforcement put the same amount of resources into finding missing black children as the Amber Alert puts into finding missing white children. I love giving him praise. He's a lot like Moses. When Moses was talking to God in Exodus 10, and God told Moses, he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said to God, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And he went out and did his thing. And it's a lot like Senator Bradford when he was praying to God before he went into the state capitol of California. And God said, go down into the state capitol and talk to the Senate and the legislators and tell them I said Pappas reparations. And Senator Bradford said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. You know they're passing Senate Bill 1403, 1331, and Senate Bill 1050. They're going to pass reparations in California. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. It's pen to paper. It's pen to paper, not marching. It's pen to paper, not marching. It's pen to paper, not marching. I love giving him praise. I met him many times in his office and also at California Reparations Task Force. I want to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Michelle Brill. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to our attorney, Lisa Holder. She's an expert when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion that Project 2025 wants to do away with. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. And I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. And as a Japanese American, his ancestry got reparations from the internment camps because it was wrong. And United States and California did the right thing. You got to give him praise. I said give him praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to get you into the fact that NBA basketball is fantastic. But before I do that, I got to give out this infomercial that I'm making because it's important for every athlete. From sea to shining sea, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Now pay attention because we're going to have a quiz. Ready? They say faith comes by hearing. I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of attorney George Jones. The Missing Link, long-term care, solutions by the book, with over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits in Medicare and You, and taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. In other states, it's called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options by calling 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And just tell them Big C sent you. Our promise to you, we specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits. I was talking to a bank today, and the bank said, you guys do long-term benefits? I said, you betcha. I said, you bet your ass since we do long-term care. I said, protection of your assets without a spend down. Think about this. It's so important. The spend down is over in California. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. We have ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. Have you ever known anyone to deal with skilled nursing facilities? Have you ever known anyone to deal with medical prescriptions? You know, like the ones you took this morning. Have you ever known anyone to deal with medical equipment costs? And more. But not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. As I said many times, from sea to shining sea and all over the universe, I've been known to be a Trekkie. I love Star Trek, but I also love the Empire, because the Empire strikes back. The USS Starship Enterprise on a 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to reach out to new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man or woman has gone before. May lightning strike, warp speed straight ahead. So the good old boys on the USS Starship Enterprise, Captain Kirk, Spock, and Scotty, they decided to go into warp drive. And when they came out of warp drive, they came into this beautiful, pretty solar system. And it had 9 planets. But one planet was very peculiar. It was a big, black, shiny planet. And it had a blinking light. And Captain Kirk said, well, that's a peculiar looking planet. It's blinking. And Scotty said, yeah, Captain, I've never seen a planet so shiny and black. And Captain Kirk said, yes, that is true. And Spock said, I would love to do the Vulcan mind meld. And Captain Kirk said, well, maybe, just maybe, we should raise the shield, Scotty, because I got to trust my gut feeling. I don't feel so comfortable about that shiny black planet. And POTUS 45 said, build the wall! Build the wall! And Spock said, there's no wall in space, POTUS 45. So Captain Kirk said, well, maybe we should lift the shields anyway. And just as they were about to lift the shields, they heard over the PA system, this is an order from Starfleet Federation. You're listening to Captain Darth Vader. Do not raise your shields. It would be conceived as an act of war. I've been given explicit orders from Starfleet Command that the Empire and the Federation have joined forces. And Captain Kirk said, well, I haven't heard of the Empire and the Federation joining forces. And Spock said, yes, that's illogical. Why would we join forces with the Empire? And Scotty said, well, Captain, what do you think we should do? And Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields. And just before they were about to raise the shields, Darth Vader said, Captain Kirk, I am your father. If you search your feelings, you know it to be true. He says, Spock, I am your father. And Scotty, I am your father. Do not raise the shields. It would be considered an act of war. And Captain Kirk said, well, how do you know our names? He said, I'm using the Force. I want you to join the dark side. In fact, there's a lot of benefits to joining the dark side. And Captain Kirk said, what's the dark side? And Spock said, yeah, that's illogical. What is the dark side? And Scotty said, Captain, maybe we should raise the shields. And Spock said, Scotty, Captain, should we raise the shields? Captain said, Scotty, Spock, are you out of your Vulcan mind? Raise the shields! And at that moment, it was Darth Vader. He said, hold on, Captain, before you raise the shields, if you search your feelings, you know it to be true. I am your daddy. And Captain Kirk said, you're not my dad. And Scotty said, yeah, my dad left a long time ago. And Spock said, yeah, my daddy's green. And so at the same time, he said, hold on, I'll give you Not only will I give you Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'll throw in Lando Calrissian, the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, and 2 robots called R2-D2 and C-3PO. And Captain Chris says, Scotty, are you involved in mine? Raise the shields! And as they were about to fire on the USS Starship Enterprise, they said, warp speed straight ahead! May lightning strike! And they were able to avoid destruction because they got into warp speed and they raised the shields. The shield is like a trust. If you're a business owner and you fly around through outer space and not raising the shields, called a trust, they have attorneys called Darth Vader. They'll come after all your assets. And if you don't have a trust, they'll probably get them, if that makes sense to you. You got to have a trust, if that makes sense to you. You can tell I'm auditioning for Star Trek 25 and Star Wars 29. Protection of your assets. Avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program is called probate. And if you don't have a will and a trust, the probate court, they will have a will for you, and you will not like it. If that makes sense to you, just like Will Rogers didn't like being lost in space. You got to have a will, and you got to have a trust. You get that through the RDC team. We have a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. But not only that, I'm not done yet. What does a trust do? For all you rich athletes that are watching the Olympics, a trust provides, we have insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation. We have lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care. You can avoid probate. We have life insurance policies, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. A trust protects your fixed assets, your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market account, your certificate of deposit. We have life insurance with cash values, your fixed index annuities. A trust also protects your variable assets. What are variable assets, Big C? I'm glad you asked. Your real estate, qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, and other investments. For example, avoid capital gains. You buy a house for $100,000. What can I buy that house, Big C? Well, let me finish the story. And then in 1 year, that house appreciates to $1 million. Well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid that with a trust. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. This is the Death Star. You got to find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Over 3 decades of experience, you call the Big C team in the RDC 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. If that makes sense to you, you got to give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, sometimes people have said, ironically, well, Big C, why would we go through you? I have a friend, he does trust, and he also does asset protection. Well, that may be true, but if your friend knows how to trigger long-term care benefits, ask of your friend if your friend knows about that. It's an entitlement signed into law by Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1966. You get that with the RDC team. So when someone says to you, well, why would we trust you, Big C? Do you have any references that we should follow you, Big C? And I say, I'm glad you asked. When someone says they don't have references, they probably don't because nobody's giving them to them. But we have our references, and we give them to you. Unlike a lot of financial planners, the RDC team, we will tell you who our references happen to be. If that makes sense to you, we have the great late James Gomez, who advised 4 governors in California for over 21 years. He also helped change California's nursing home situations. And he was also on Golden One's board of directors. And he endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have the late Robert Carlson. He was a top legal mind for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have the attorney George Jones. Attorney George Jones is the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. But not only that, also, he's the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods, works with many of the top lobbyists in California, also with the RDC team. Not only that, we have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the CEO of the RDC team, Resource Development Consulting. Been doing this thing for over 34 years, if that makes sense to you. And he endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veterans Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry, the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. I endorse the RDC team. Not only that, I'm business development consultant for the RDC team. But not only that, I'm owner of Big C Sports Podcast heard all over the world. From sea to shining sea, I endorse the RDC team. But not only that, we have Double O. She's the PR committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She's also a consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can Google it on Access Sacramento. We all endorse the RDC team, and you can too. Reluctantly strike. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You know I'm a big proponent of reparations. As I always champion reparations now, reparations forever. I want you to hear from the greatest mind in the history of this country that ever spoke about reparations. Listen with your own eyes and ears.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Reparations now, reparations forever. I love talking about reparations because it's the right thing to do, just like the Just Act, but it's time for descendants of child slavery, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to bring you some highlights from the Olympics today, and you can hear with your own ears what happened with the Team USA. What an amazing, amazing game.
Tough challenge, France. Another tough challenge, France on the home court.
Yeah, Steph, you've won rings. I mean, you've been in the biggest pressure in the NBA Finals. Why does this have a little different feel for you?
Because I know I'll never get it back. This is probably my one and only time to enjoy this stage, and having seen Team USA play for years and know what it means to stand on that podium and get a gold medal around your neck. That's the challenge and the mission for us, and it felt like it was slipping away for a little bit in that game, and to be able to dig deep the way we did, we would love to win by 20 every game, but this was extremely fun, kind of just tough it out win, and just praise God that I was able to stay confident. I haven't had it going at all this whole tournament, and that doesn't mean anything. You just got to stay ready for your moment.
Yeah, I think you can fill it up at any point, just when you dial it in. You've had teams in big moments in games in the finals where it's you or Clay, or when KD was with you, you know who you can go to. On the floor at the end of the game, I was looking, you can go to anybody, and everybody had a little bit of a moment. How different is that in a spot where you're trying to dig out of a big hole?
It's a blessing and a curse, to be honest. Like, you have to stay confident in what you're trying to do on offense because you have so many options. We got stuck, a little bit in that second half where, we kind of were overpassing, overcutting. Right. Guys weren't taking shots because the next guy's KD, the next guy's Bron, the next guy's Devin Booker. But once you just play basketball and the first open guy takes a shot, we have confidence in anybody. Katie with a huge shot down the stretch. Joel, a huge shot. Everybody hit big shots in the fourth quarter, so it was big for us to have contributions from everybody, but our defense won.
And Melo was there on the side trying to call plays as well as you were going for his record. He had 37 in an Olympic game. You had 36. One off that mark. Steph, thanks. Good luck against France. We appreciate you stopping, man.
I appreciate you.
36. If you were not around TV, I'll show you how this transpired. Serbia jumped up big, up 17 at one point in the first half. And even in the fourth, Steve Kerr's team is down 11. Big stretch of the game right here. Jokic spikes through the screen, but Durant bangs the three. U.S. keeps possession because of the foul, and Booker hits a three. That's 6 points in 3 seconds in tight margin. And LeBron had a couple of those takeover moments to finish. Timeout Serbia off the screen, and the chef knocks it down. Curry had 9 3-pointers, 9 of 14 in this game. U.S. up 3. Serbia could not hit the shots, turn it over, and Curry basket back, uses the rim, beautiful spin, and the United States survives the scare. Still 2 in the final minute, and Durant, that's what Steph was just talking about. That takeover, beautiful from that spot that he always finds a way to get to, and he knocks it down. The U.S. dancing now, Anthony Edwards. So here are the numbers. LeBron has a triple-double of 16, 12 and 10 assists. ACNB with 19 on 8 of 11 shooting. But back to the leader of this team, flag bearer for Team USA, LeBron. Post-game, Zora Stevens.
LeBron, you all were down by 13 to start the fourth quarter. I was near the huddle. Steve Kerr told you all that you would have to fight. You've been in these situations before. What did that fight entail?
Gotta get it the hard way. You know, we was preaching at the whole fourth quarter, beating the team 3 times. And one, I mean, listen, in the last 3 weeks, we knew it was going to be difficult. We know Serbia was going to give us everything they had. Kudos to Serbia, but we came through. Chef Curry with a Vincent Chef Curry game. Joel was big time for us, and we needed it.
We'll get to Steph, but first you finished with a triple-double. What role did you know you needed to play in order to get this done?
Whatever role that the team needed me to play. I understand I got to do a little bit of everything. So, you know, Chef had it going offensively. Joel, like I said, chipped in. So it's my job to keep finding those guys, try to clean glass, and sprinkle in a couple points from time to time.
I know you and Steph were excited to go on this run together. 36 points, 9 threes. How nice is it to have him on your side for a game like this?
It was only a matter of time before you had one of these games. We can see it every day. He put too much work in not to have a game like this. And it was we wouldn't want it any other way. And it was a perfect timing for Chef to come out and do what he did.
One more to the ultimate goal. Good luck.
Thanks so much.
That's the great team USA. Do you believe in miracles? All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. It's streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. I just brought you the Olympics. You heard Steph Curry. You heard LeBron James talking about their big win over Serbia. They were down by 17 points, but they came back to win. And I was so excited that Team USA is going to live to see another game. And they will play Vive la France in the Olympics in Paris. I also told you I have a special guest coming on today by the name of August Wesley. He has a great background when it comes to wrestling. He comes from a pedigree of wrestlers in his family. Also, we were talking with his Olympic experience and just so many great things. I'll let him edify himself. August Wesley, it is the month of August. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
You're always welcome. You know that. And again, the great August Wesley, a great wrestling background, comes from the family of wrestlers, great pedigree. Son's also making his way toward the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 2028. Give me your thoughts. The Olympics are here. We only have, it comes and goes so fast, August. Noah Lyles pulled out. Well, he won the 100 meters just a few days ago. He came from that. I think he was going to be about 4th place. And that 60 meters ago, he kicked in the afterburners and won. But today he took 3rd in the 200. But they said he tested positive for COVID, and maybe that's why he hasn't looked like he's on the top of his game. Your thoughts?
Wow. I can tell you he is excitement, first of all. He's brash, he's loud, and he is fast.
Yes.
So to have him come out there and come from behind to take the gold medal by the skin of his teeth.
Yep.
How exciting was that?
Yeah.
I mean, you had Snoop D-O Double G watching everything going on. It was so exciting to have him do that. He prophesized it. He talked about it. He's a 2-time world champ.
Yeah.
And the fact that for him to come out there and do it was exciting. Now, the 200 is a different beast. We were just talking about that with the Jamaican women.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
100
Yep.
and the 200 is a whole different beast. So first, let me say this. To get any Olympic medal is a feat on itself. Now, I know people have the high standards. You want gold. All I see is gold. Jordan Burroughs, the wrestler, said that. People think gold. But if you look at bronze a certain way, it sure looks like gold to me. I can tell you, to be on the podium, to be a person that's representing your country, your family, the sacrifices that have made. He comes from a single-parent home, and to see where he is now, I mean, a bronze medal is a medal, period.
Yes, it period is. Talking to the great August Wesley. Now, you also represent, say the name right for me, Cape Verde or Cabo Verde?
Yes, they'll say Cape Verde, but it used to be Cape Verde.
Okay, wonderful. So I want to ask you also, with your wrestling acumen, if you could take about 30 seconds or so and just pay homage to where you came from, the great schools that you wrestled for, and also coach with your thoughts.
Wow, I can say I went to Center High School in Sacramento, California. Go Cougars. And then from there, I ended up working myself up to wrestling for a team called Sunkist Kids. They're based out of Arizona.
Okay.
While I was on the team, we won 6 national championships.
Wow.
So that's equivalent to winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And going through the Olympic years and momentum, it's just been a blessing. I've lived at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And everyone that's poured into me along the way, helping me with my craft.
Yes.
It's been exciting. And then to get on the international stage, I started that in high school. I was on a junior national team and went to Australia, and I just got the bug that I wanted to see the world through sports. So I can say that through the years, a lot of people have given me pieces to keep me going. But my late Uncle Tony Amato really put it inside me when he said, no matter what happens, let them judge you by the amount of Olympic and world teams that you qualify for. And that said something, because in this day and age, people always have opinions and they want to pull you down, maybe because they're envious or they can't achieve what you can achieve, or they're not willing to sacrifice or to work as hard. But I'm here to say, in any aspect, if you have a drug or alcohol problem, if you have a relationship problem, if you have financial issues, someone is always going to be there to hold you down. It takes something from inside to say, I got it. I can go a little longer, a little harder, a little faster. And that was always put inside me from my mom, from my parents, from people around me to keep going. And so I can say that my Uncle Tony Amato helped to put that in there, and it's just been a burning desire to excel. I've always had it.
You know, August, what I love about you, talking to the great August Wesley, when you talk about the people that opened doors for you, and that you came from that bloodline of champions, and then you've had your own success, and now you're doing things with the Olympic Village, the presidents that do various things along that line. Can you give a little bit of shout out to them as well, your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? I'd like to say that there's a good amount of countries that are out there that are doing big things. I'd like to say Botswana, even though you saw their sprinter, the president of their wrestling federation, President Sharp, he's also a doctor there in Botswana. He is really pushing the envelope to help them over there. I can say that Algeria is working really hard. I can say Egypt is really pushing the envelope. We've been over there. We've trained over there. They are really pushing it. And Morocco, with President Mascout, the different coaches that they have, really pushing it out for the continent of Africa. I can't say enough about how hard that they're working. But I would be remiss in saying other countries like Pedro from Portugal or Craig from Great Britain. So many countries are out there working to try to give people an opportunity. And when you think of wrestling, you don't think of a money sport. You don't think of a marquee sport. You often think of an inexpensive sport. And I can tell you that carving ways, giving people opportunities is great. And then you have companies like Nike, Adidas,
yes,
that are out there that are sponsoring and giving people opportunity to take care of some of the clothing, some of the shoes, and a little bit of money in their pocket too.
Never hurts.
It takes the village.
Yeah, it does take a village. Talking to the great August Wesley, and when we talk about it taking a village like the Olympic Village, I remember I met Lewis Johnson, who's done a lot of the reporting at the Olympics. I met him at a Stanford football game versus Arizona State back in '96, and now to see him ascending and doing his thing, and now with Big C Sports Podcast having my own program, I'm honored to have you on, because not only do you talk about modern day what you're doing with Cabo Verde, also the work you've done with Iowa State, with some of the great people that you know, the dignitaries that are part of the Olympics, to pay homage to your family. But I'd be remiss if you didn't say something about your son that's also doing some great things as he's climbing Mount Everest. Your thoughts?
Oh, man, my son is he's a hard worker. He's banged up. Knees bother him a little bit, shoulders bother him a little bit, but that's not stopping him.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, he coaches in Minnesota at a school, RTCT, Rochester Community Technical College, and they've won 3 of the last 5 national championships, and he's on the coaching staff there. That's a junior college, a tech school.
Yes.
And not only does he coach, but him out there wrestling. He placed 5th at the British Championships. He placed 1st in Portugal. He placed 4th at the African Championships and 5th the year before that. So he is in the conversation. He is doing things internationally, and he is just testing himself day in and day out, and I just can't say enough. And he got his master's degree. So education was important.
Yes.
But if you're going to go to Jesuit high school, you better push yourself in the class.
Got to put yourself in the classroom. Talking to the great August Wesley. Again, I love talking about you and then where you come from, the people you always pay homage to on Big C Sports Podcast. I want to step into something that's important to me. When I look at some of the great athletes, I look at what Steph Curry did today. And they were down 17 points. He dropped 36 points. That's 1 point shy of an Olympic record. And in my opinion, he could have had more. Carmelo Anthony had 37 in an Olympic game. The talk about whether this team is as good as the Dream Team, I don't even think that's fair, because when the Dream Team played, when they had Michael Jordan, they had Barkley, they had so many other great players, Magic Johnson on the team, and Charles Barkley, they didn't have the competition in other countries as fierce as it is today, because there are a lot of, like the Joker, he's with Serbia. He's a 2-time NBA, actually 3-time NBA MVP. They didn't play against those oppositions when Jordan was playing and Magic Johnson, those good old boys. Would you agree with that? Your thoughts, August?
I would agree with that. Let me first say that I cannot compare these two teams. They are too far away in years. Rules have changed, not just rules, but training and preparation. Shoes are different than what they were then. Clothing is different. You didn't even have
August. Did you just steal Spike Lee's thunder? You said it got to be the shoes. Is that what you said? It got to be the shoes. It's not the training. I'm gonna go buy me some new shoes based on that. Maybe I can play the NBA.
Got to be the shoes.
It's got to be the shoes.
I can tell you that there's no way to compare them.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about the greats. We're talking about Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing. I mean, Karl Malone. Stockton. Chris Mullin. I mean, we are talking about people that were on top of their game when you could actually play, when you could push somebody, when you could dunk and talk a little bit of junk. But if we fast forward to this game, I would like to say that LeBron James, and I'm not throwing shade on what Steph Curry did, but LeBron James, game in and game out, has shown what it is to be a professional, what it is to go there and be in the moment. And I'm just so happy to see how he is adding to his legacy, regardless what happens with the Lakers. He is doing it. He is in the moment. He is doing it now. Now, speaking of Steph Curry, we're talking about somebody who is late to the party. This is his first Olympic team. This is not only his coming out party, but this is his glass slipper, and it's almost 12.
Steph Curry for 3! Yes, get in the hole, Steph Curry,
you got to sit there and look at, he is just waiting to come out. But this team has been unselfish.
Yeah.
With Booker and some of these other guys, Kevin Durant.
Yep.
You know my name.
Yep.
You know what's my name.
Yep.
It's
Kevin Durant.
KD, baby. And he came out and was 8 for 8
Yeah.
and was putting it down. And he is just a sniper. A lot of people don't give Kerr the credit that he deserves for putting this team, checking the bring your ego to work hard, but check it at the door because we're a team of stars.
Yes.
So the way he has led this team, and they had won, it doesn't surprise me that they had to come from behind because they showed the ability of doing that earlier in the preseason games where they had to come back. And I think it shows a little resolve. I think it shows that they are human. I think it shows that even though they're NBA players, that other people can step up to the plate and give them a good game. And that's the one thing that everyone has talked about because it's not a 3-game. Back when we were younger, they were the first round NBA playoff for 3-game series. Nobody wants to talk about that. But 3-game series, then 5-game series, then 7-game series. Remember? It was a gradual up to the finals. Now they're all 7. It has to do with business and everything else. But my point is that you don't have to be good for a series.
No.
You only have to be good for a game.
And you know what? You know what?
Anybody can be good for a game.
And you know what, too, August, just to touch on what you said, when the NBA Finals used to play, when it was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson that came out of Indiana State and Michigan State, you had to watch the NBA Finals at nighttime. They didn't play it prime time. It was tape delayed. And now from tape delayed and what they were doing with television back then to what they're doing right now, the whole world gets to watch NBA basketball. So when I hear some of the other pundits that say, oh, this team, they could not have played with the Dream Team. Oh, yes, they could have. Because the Dream Team, these guys learn from the Dream Team. It's not about saying who's better. They just have that same kind of stamina that the Dream Team had. But they're playing against guys. They got guys like Jason Tatum, who was the runner-up for MVP of the NBA Finals with Boston. I don't know why Brown didn't make the team. Jaylen Brown, the NBA Finals MVP and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And Tatum's having a hard time getting playing time, not because he's not good. There's just so many people to pick from. Your thoughts?
There's only one ball to go around. We can look at many teams that was put together. We can look at that last Pistons team that had a great run. We can look at that team that they put together for the Lakers. We can even look at that Houston team, but they was trying to put a team together when Barkley went over there. There was only one basketball that could go out there, and you got to find who has chemistry for that game. It's not the season. It's a short amount of time. But as to what you were talking about, going from tape delay to marquee to a business opportunity. People pay good money to be on a commercial. You got so many podcasts. You got TV shows that are all wrapped around a pregame, the in-game, and the post-game. So the NBA has become $1 billion industry. So they took that. They took that. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson dragged them out of the gutter to the front house, to the big house. So anytime an NBA player sees them, they should just say thank you.
Thank you. Preach.
Because without Showtime, without the rivalry, without Red Auerbach, without the mystique, come on, my favorite player is Bill Russell, number 6. So when I played football, people don't even know that I played football at Sierra College. When I played college football, I wore 6 for him because he was my favorite player, the first player coach, champion coach. People don't even know that. A person of color was doing that back then. So he did big things. But anyway, I'm just saying they brought basketball to marquee with the matchups, with the personality. Then you got Dr. J coming in there with the 70s with the hat, left the ABA to come and bring some prime. Because you used to not be able to dunk in the NBA.
Exactly.
You used to not be able to. The ABA had the dunk contest. The ABA had the flavor. And they brought that over to the NBA. Once they merged, then it became a household name. People wanted to go. They wanted to play. So it was just it's really come far.
And when you think about it, too, talking to the great August Wesley about what's happening with the Olympics, could you imagine when Wilt Chamberlain was averaging 50 points a game Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the sky hook. But based on that, Michael Jordan considered maybe the best player of all time, whether it's Russell or Kareem. I still say Kareem. He may not be the NBA all-time scoring leader, but he's the NBA all-time scoring leader when it comes to two-point baskets. He only made 1 3. But based on what you said, are you saying if we were to buy some different shoes, it could be Big C and August Wesley play for Team USA? Your thoughts?
Hey, put me on the team of LeBron.
I'm buying some shoes.
LeBron has carried less athletic people to a championship kicking and screaming, and I'd like to think I got a little athleticism. So you can put me in there, and I'll just pass the ball back to him and get out of the way.
I think we're going to buy some new shoes, August, so we can join the next USA Olympic basketball team. It may work in track and field also, if that makes sense. You're talking to the great August Wesley on Big C Sports. We only have about maybe 3 more minutes on the back 9 of the Masters, if that makes sense to you. I want to ask you your thoughts. You called me today. This is not scripted. You've been telling me some things that you want to do. There's a lot of people that follow Big C Sports Podcast, over 250,000 podcasts in the world through iHeartRadio alone, and I'm in the top 1% of that. But I want you to just give out your 60-second resume, the great August Wesley, whether it's Olympics, wrestling, whatever it is. What would you say to any producer that's looking for a person to fill a spot? Right ahead, your thoughts.
Oh, I would like to say I can talk about a lot of topics, be it sports, social, economic, political. Everybody got opinions, but I think an informed opinion is important.
Yes.
I think an educated opinion is important. I think somebody that's got out of their comfort zone and has challenged themselves to be in different areas and to get other people's viewpoints.
Yes.
I think to be able to talk and debate, you have to be a good listener.
Yes.
And you have to respect the person that you're talking to be able to analyze and give some feedback so the conversation can go both ways and not somebody just with a microphone. And I'd like to think that's what I possess.
Yes.
So I'd really like to be more involved with Big C Sports. Your podcast, I think, is fabulous, and I think it could be an opportunity to give another voice and get some opinions and thoughts in there that are like yours but aren't yours.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we say a lot of the same things, but it's coming from a different perspective.
Yes.
We talk about you were a professional athlete. You know what it's like. You know the hard work and discipline.
Yeah.
You know that, but you weren't necessarily an Olympic athlete. So bringing somebody in from my side of the field to talk about that. You know about drugs and alcohol, what it can do to your body, but you let me speak on USADA and how it affects and how you get tested.
Yes.
So I think having a perspective, a world perspective as to what's going on is exciting as well.
That's very exciting. Well, talking to the great August Wesley, you know, Dwayne Wade's doing some hosting with Mike Tirico for NBC, and obviously he has an NBA basketball player's background, but he was given an opportunity to show what he can do. And not everybody's going to like you. Don't worry about somebody liking you. Even when someone cooks collard greens. I think my mom made the best collard greens in the history of the universe. I love my mama's collard greens. Not everybody can make them the way she makes them. At the same time, if you can learn to just be yourself. And what I like about you, August, is you're authentic. We're not scripting. We have no script that we're working on. We didn't have some sit down for an hour to talk about what we're going to talk about. And there are people on television and radio making $1 million a year. They have teleprompters. They have producers in their ear. They even have someone telling them what to say. We're not doing that. Your thoughts?
Oh, first of all, let me go backwards. What you said about your mom making the best collard greens. I'd like to raise my hand. My mom is a retired
Hey, let's not fight now. Let's not fight on the show, okay?
Don't play the Dustins. Let's not get into mamas.
I've always liked you, man. Let's just have our mamas make the best. We know that's what it is, okay? Your thoughts?
I'm just saying, my mom can make some peach cobbler with
the
now
you're talking.
Top in the
now
cinnamon.
You're making me hungry.
I'm telling you, she can sit up there and make some chicken and dumplings.
Yes.
She can make some crab cakes.
Yes.
She can make my favorite chocolate cream pie.
Yes.
And unfortunately for me, she always made these hearty dishes during wrestling season, and I couldn't eat them because I was trying to make weight from my Center High Cougars there in Alberta, California.
Yes.
And I couldn't take part in all that good stuff, but I can tell you what, my mom can cook a lot of people under the table.
Wow.
I was really trying to get her to make a book because her flair her attention to detail.
Yes.
She was the head cook at McClellan Air Force Base NCO Club.
Yes.
She was that before they closed. I know I'm going back. A lot of people don't know back in the early 90s that McClellan over there in North Highlands off of Watt Avenue was a thriving area. North Highlands was a thriving area till the military cut back and cut down Mather Air Force Base, cut down McClellan Air Force Base where they only got Travis and Beale now.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't realize all the military people that was out there and affected, but I can tell you McClellan being the Air Force Logistics Command, my mom was the head cook over there, so she was out there carving turkeys, carving spare ribs and all that.
And that's when you didn't need a plate. Mama, I don't need a plate. I just want to eat with my hands. And now a lot of people, they got to get the plate. I didn't have time to get a plate. I was hungry now, if that makes sense to you. Talking to the great August Wesley about how good our mamas can cook. Your thoughts?
I can tell you this. I was willing to eat because I would run it off.
Yeah.
And that's just that extra gear. I would eat it, but I would be out there back in the day with plastic bags on, running up and down the street to get that weight off. But I can, my mom can throw down, man.
We love our mamas.
She is recovering. She is recovering right now.
Yes.
But I can tell you, she was really happy to hear that Anthony's going to be going to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
My stepfather, Alan McKinney, said that she lit up and smiled up. And I had one of her nurses, because I call every day about 5 a.m. your time to check in on her, make sure, see how her vitals were as if she went through the night. And they said she has been up all night and watching the Olympics.
Wow.
Like she's really been glued to it.
Praise
so
God
her
for
nurse
that.
was like, we just, amen, right?
Praise
Her
God.
nurse said, we just don't know why. Like, she doesn't want the channel changed. And I said, well, what you don't know is she was expecting my son to be competing in the Olympics.
Wow.
So she had had a heart attack around this time, and, we kind of hadn't focused on that. So she had really been focused on that and going towards that area. So he kind of charked up and got really excited when I started telling him a little bit about the family.
Yes.
But so no, she is really diligent. But speaking of the Olympics, there's a couple things we didn't touch on, and I know we're running out of time.
Yeah,
but I gotta say this: the United States is sitting there with 30 gold medals.
Yep.
China got 29. Australia a little bit below with 18. France 14. But total medal count, because you know what I like, how NBC has really switched gears from being the total medal count to the gold count.
Exactly.
Because if you just look at the medal count, it doesn't make it as exciting. So now that they focus on the medal, the gold medals, we got 103 and we're doing great.
Yes.
But we're really on par for what we did in Tokyo. Tokyo, they had 113 gold medals.
Yep.
113 total medals, 39 gold. China had 89 total medals with 38 gold. It took the last day to determine who had the most gold medals.
Yes.
That's just because, as a people, supremacy is important. So you can have all the silver and bronze you want, but if I got gold, I'm better.
You got gold, yep.
Us sitting on there with 30 is right where we should be, but I would be remiss to say that Russia is not there. And to me, that's a huge piece, because Russia, for whatever they got going on in the war, let's just talk about athletics. They're always in the conversation. Wrestling, they are a top country every single year at the World Championships, every year at the Olympics. To have them out there when the wrestling is going on now, it's a huge piece. But you see them in gymnastics, you see them in many sports. So unfortunately, like 80 and 84, when we were kids, 80, we boycotted. We didn't go to Moscow, Russia in 80.
Right.
And Russia blew everybody away and killed it. And then Russia boycotted us in 84, which was LA, and then we blew it out and killed it. We were both back together in 92 in Barcelona, and then it was competitive again. But it matters when you have two powerful countries not there.
Yeah.
But today is day 4 of wrestling. I can tell you that today is day 4. We have our own Spencer Lee at 57 kilograms, which is 125.5 pounds. He's in the finals. Aaron Brooks, 86 kilos. He's wrestling for bronze.
Wow.
And Helen, she's wrestling for bronze. Plus, we got 2 women that have already gotten gold medal. Right now, USA is on top of the wrestling board. Behind them is Iran and Japan. So it's just really exciting to see that we're doing good things on the wrestling mat. and it's super exciting. This is the time of the Olympics that I'm most pumped up because it is wrestling time. So I just can't wait to watch it.
I love it. And no matter whether you're a sprinter running the 100-meter dash or the 200-meter dash or the 4x100-meter relay, the mile relay, it's got to be the shoes. Whether it's NBA basketball or wrestling, it's got to be the shoes. And when you retire from wrestling, you hang up your shoes, you leave them on the mat. I want to tell you, the great August Wesley, it's got to be the shoes, because every time we talk, I feel like it's the shoes, Mars. It's the shoes, Mars. Your thoughts?
Hey, well, what you're saying, the shoes, we're talking about Spike Lee. And when we talk about Spike Lee, we're talking about my New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks.
You're just bringing it home for me. But I got to tell you like this, as much as I do love It's Got to Be the Shoes for us, and that throw me on some old school Reebok pumps. Remember we used to pump it up?
Pump them up,
get out there on the basketball court?
Pump it up,
Come on now. You used to pump it up and get out there. Everybody like, you ready to come in? Like, hold on. And you bend over. And you
pump them up.
All right, I'm ready now. I'm ready.
Oh, this is Big C Sports talking to the great August Wesley. I know every time I'm talking to you, time flies when you're having fun, but I want you to know, send this tape out to people that you care about, because doors open when you knock on them. I will always open doors for you, August, the way you always come on Big C Sports Podcast. I want to thank you for your time. I want to wish you a super, super fantastic day.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being on the show. I can't wait to come back. I'd like to, I can talk to you about anything, and this is just a great platform and opportunity. Your listeners are getting it all the time. You always have quality guests on. You guys are always talking about what's going on right now, and to me, that's so important. If it's reparations that's going on in California, and believe me, they're leading the way. That's something that a lot of people aren't saying. Excuse me, they are sitting back and waiting. There are many states that are sitting on their hands that cannot believe what's going on, because you don't think that Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi are not going to follow. Those are straight slave states. There ain't no question about that. And as California goes, so goes the union. I am telling you that if California passes this, because there's a lot more people that are a little bit closer to their family line that are in those former slave states that are going to be able to prove that they were taken over there, prove that their family line was from there, prove that they had no business being there because they was enslaved, prove that their family hasn't been given the 40 acres and the mule that they were promised and we were never received, prove that they were there and systematically has not had a fair opportunity for education, for living, for advancing in those areas. You still have areas that are separated. So don't tell me that those other states are not waiting, biting on their fingernails, tapping their hands, crossing their shoulders, waiting for California to come through, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a landslide, and a lot is going to happen to fix some injustices that has happened and has, unfortunately, is a scar in our great country's history.
And we're going to lead. We either lead, follow, or got out of the way. And I'm going to be a leader with Big C Sports Podcast, and I love bringing it to you real. You can always Google it. I'm telling you, I do appreciate you, August. We will catch you down the back nine, and no matter what I do, I'm going to buy me some new shoes that Spike Lee can sponsor for us on the Big C Sports Podcast. I want to tell you, August, I appreciate you. I thank you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.
Thank you.
This is Big C Sports Podcast. I'll take the Big C pause. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe, and streaming on 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Have the great August Wesley talking sports, a little bit of politics, and also the Olympics. Do you believe that miracles get the hole in your life? Yes! Big C Sports, it's got to be the shoes. Spike Lee, it's got to be the shoes. You got to do a commercial with Big C Sports and August Wesley wearing your new shoes. If that makes sense to you. I want to say I do appreciate everything I do with Big C Sports Podcast. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports Podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone they love, or someone who's loved by someone else. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As my beautiful mother always says, Nam Yo Renke Yo, Nam Yo Renke Yo, Nam Yo Renke Yo. There's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. You need more leader in your life. Leader is an acronym for love with the answer. If somebody's slapping you, only slap it because he made me mad. Call 911. If someone's choking you out, only choked you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's slapping you upside the head, only slapped you because you made me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to put up with that crap. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You can always call 911 and get some help, and I believe that will come and people change when the police show up. That's my story, I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Burdini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, well, all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I feel like a butterfly. And I sting like a bee. There was no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. I always pay homage to my beautiful family legacy on every Big C Sports podcast. And I will always do it because if you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. On my mother's side, I want to give praise to my great-grandparents, Mama and Pop. They were beautiful, loving, kind people. In fact, my great-grandmama, she cooked some of the best collard greens in the history of the universe. We'd always get hungry and come into the house and try to get it out with our hands. She said, boy, go wash your hands. You got to get a plate for those collard greens. I said, great-grandma, I don't need a plate. I'll eat it with my hands. I'm hungry now. She said, boy, go get a plate and please wash your dirty hands first. Now, I love you, baby. Go wash your hands first. I love my great-grandmother and then my beautiful great-grandfather, Pop, former Negro League baseball player. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful grandparents, Muddia and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. The starter of the Head Start program, a food program, and also coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Mama, you hear my praise. I'm always praising. Just tell God, yes, do it now, God. Do it now. Ephesians 3:20, that's my story, and I'm taking with it. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I ever met in my life. And then on my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. I was 8 years old walking through the hallway about 10 o'clock at night. It was dark in the house, and I felt somebody touch me in my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies? I said, well, what are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man, going to get some cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap, but what I'm doing, Grandma, I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long wait. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now Big C Sports Podcast is streaming all over the universe on 29 podcast applications and streaming on 4 TV platforms. I love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying, develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Ty with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning when Top would speak. The voracious reader, always saying go forward. Our favorite movie was Malcolm X, but we also love Pulp Fiction. It had the great Ben Rames, Bruce Willis, Sam Jackson, and John Travolta before the big fight with a lot of the good old boys from Team USA told Serbia today. He said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say that, Flip! And he said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. He said, take this money. That stinging sensation you're feeling, well, that's just pride loving with you. And he told them what the Team USA told Serbia today. They said, no pride. They said, pride only hurts. It never helps. He says, boxing is filled with a lot of unrealistic, muddy buckets who think their butt gets better with time like fine wine, but it don't. In terms of vinegar, then it do. You're going to think Uncle Marcellus when you're chilling in the Caribbean. Well, we know that Bruce didn't take the money, and he lost his LA privileges. That's his story, and I'm sticking with it. Love to talk with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then, my beautiful daughter, Daisy. The most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back in the days of Salem Media. It was the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network because of two black men in the crew. They made budget for the first time in 44 years in 1 month. And then shenanigans set in and the show went away, but I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. You can be anything you want to be. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats for the Big C Sports Podcast. And one day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now, streaming on 4 TV platforms and also on 29 podcast platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. And now it's streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want. Always trust God. Always trust God. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, that my great-grandparents come out of that barn with their church buddies, always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. It's been nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud, because I want God to hear me when I chant, Nam yo renge yo, Nam yo renge yo, Nam yo renge yo. And I'm doing that for my Buddhist buddies. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports Podcast, I honor President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When they said, reparations at last, reparations at last. Thank God Almighty, reparations at last. Say it 2 more times. Reparations at last, reparations at last. Thank God Almighty, reparations at last. Reparations at last, reparations at last. Thank God Almighty, reparations at last. I thank you. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.